Hey everyone, this is Hail from Destination Thrills, and today I have a very exciting video for us. We have the results of the Florida Coaster Tournament that we held just a couple weeks ago. And man, there couldn't be a better time to have this tournament with all this cold weather, this hardcore winter going on right now. I figured, where else would I rather be than in Florida? So to get me in that mindset, I figured let's have a big Florida Coaster Tournament. And honestly, Florida is such a big hub for roller coasters, and honestly, not just roller coasters, but theme park enthusiasts in general. So many big name theme parks, Universal, Walt Disney, you have Busch Gardens and SeaWorld, all in Florida, all near the same general area in Central Florida. And we have some big name coasters that are gonna be in this tournament as well. We'll get into the bracket in just a moment to tell you where all these coasters are seated, but first, let's get into the rules of this battle. We chose 16 Florida coasters to go head to head in a single elimination bracket, and the head-to-head rounds were pretty straightforward. We just held them on my Instagram story, and the coaster that picked up the most votes would move on to the next round. And then the coaster that makes it through all the rounds undefeated will be crowned our champion. I also do a consolation bracket as well, so we can have 7th and 5th place battles, and we'll get to those a little bit later on. And so that's pretty much how this tournament's gonna work. Pretty simple. If you've watched these before, you really know what's gonna happen. It's pretty much the same thing here. And I just wanna quickly thank everybody who voted on my Instagram story. We had near 700 participants, so that is just really good to see that we have a high number of participants, and I look to grow these going forward. So if you haven't, go ahead and give us a follow on our Instagram page. That's at Destination Thrills, and that is where we post not only the tournament battles, but all the tournament information and teasers for upcoming tournaments. And we have another one gonna happen right after this video, which I'm very excited about, and we'll get to after we go through the results. So I think without further delay, let's get right into the bracket. And like I said, I only chose 16 roller coasters. I know there are plenty of good coasters in Florida, but just to keep this tournament concise, I chose to go with 16. I think in future tournaments, when more coasters are added in Florida, we might expand this even further, but for now, again, we're sticking with the 16. So if we take a look at our bracket here, in the top left, we have our number 1 seed Mako going up against Space Mountain in the first round. And then we also have Cheetah Hunt versus our number 8 seed Incredible Hulk. Then we have Tigris taking on the number 5 seed Hagrids Motorbike Adventure. Then down to our bottom left, we have the number 4 seed Manta taking on Rockin' Roller Coaster. And then on the right side, we have Kumba taking on Expedition Everest. Kumba is our number 3 seed. And then we have Shikra versus Mindblower. And then finally, we have Kraken versus White Lightning and Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket versus our number 2 seed Montu. So as you can see, we have some really stellar matches to kick us off. And as we go through the bracket, we're gonna have even more incredible head-to-head battles. So let's go ahead and reveal our results. Starting with the top left side of the bracket, we have Mako versus Space Mountain. And I'm really intrigued about this matchup because we have Mako, which is obviously a massive hypercoaster. What I personally, because I'm a big thrill seeker, I would consider the best ride in Florida. But then you have Space Mountain, which is a very well-known coaster, one that is super popular amongst the general public. And it's just one of those names that everybody knows. Everyone talks about the nostalgia around Space Mountain. So I think this is a good test on whether the super extreme thrill coasters are going to be favored in this tournament, or the big name Disney coasters, the ones that the general public and families absolutely adore. So I'm not sure which one is going to win out, but I guess we'll find out here soon as we go through the results. And our first winner is Mako with 86% of the vote. So that's a big margin. So that tells me here that it's a lot of thrill seekers that are going to be participating in this tournament, at least for the first round. All right, moving on to our next matchup, we have Cheetah Hunt versus Incredible Hulk. Cheetah Hunt is a very fun roller coaster. I've actually been on Cheetah Hunt and I really like the coaster. It's not super aggressive. It's nowhere near Maverick, the other Intamin Blitz coaster in the United States. It's not really on that aggression level, but it's just a really fun and pretty long ride. I think that's what I like about Cheetah Hunt, is it's a pretty long experience. Incredible Hulk, I have not personally been on yet, but I've heard really good things. It looks like a well-themed ride, and it has some really massive inversions. Looks like it would be a very favorable ride with thrill seekers. So I think Incredible Hulk has the edge here, but let's see what the results are. And Incredible Hulk does win with 58% of the vote, moving on to the next round. Our next first round matchup is Tigris versus Hagrids Motorbike Adventure. I've not been on either of these coasters. I'm really dying to get on Hagrids. It just looks like a really fun coaster. Maybe not the most extreme coaster I'll go on, but definitely looks like it is super fun with so many different elements to it. All the different launches and the theming, it just looks like an all-around ride, and I'm really excited for that experience. Tigris looks pretty fun as well. I have not yet been on a Skyrocket 2, but I've been on many Premier Rides launch coasters, and I will say I absolutely love them. So I have a feeling I'm going to like Tigris as well. As far as what the coaster community is going to choose here, I think Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure is very favored in this because it is the new ride and everyone is super pumped about it. I think because of all that hype, it will push Hagrid's over the edge. So let's see who wins, and it is Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure with 83% of the vote and moving to the next round. Next up, we have Rock and Roller Coaster versus Manta at SeaWorld Orlando. Manta is a crazy ride. It is my favorite flying coaster I've ever been on. I just absolutely love that thing. Again, I have not been on Rock and Roller Coaster, but it seems like a pretty well themed, fun ride. It almost gives me those Flight of Fear vibes when I look at it, and I absolutely love Flight of Fear. If you've seen any of my Kings Island videos, you know that I've ranked Flight of Fear very high. And so if it has that similar aspect to it, I may enjoy Rock and Roller Coaster more than Manta, but I think a lot of enthusiasts will probably side with Manta here just because it is a really, really good flying coaster, one of the best here in the US. So let's see who wins, and it is Manta with 76% of the vote, so moving on to the next round. All right, next up we have Kumba versus Expedition Everest. You have Kumba, which is a very popular roller coaster amongst the coaster enthusiasts, and then you have Expedition Everest, which is a very popular coaster with Disney fans. So I think because we have more coaster enthusiasts participating in this tournament, I think Kumba will have the edge here, and it does. Kumba will win with 72% of the vote. So Kumba will make it to our round of 8. All right, next we have SheiKra, a dive coaster at Busch Gardens, Tampa, versus the newer Mind Blower at Fun Spot. Me personally, I really love wooden coasters, even if they're a little rough. So I think just looking at them both from the PvPs, I think I would favor Mind Blower. I did enjoy SheiKra, but it wasn't all that intense for me, I guess. It wasn't something that just blew me away like some of the other coasters at Busch Gardens Tampa did when I had my trip back in 2016. So me personally, I think I would favor Mind Blower here, and I think Mind Blower does have a chance because it is a newer coaster. But let's see what the voters chose, and it's actually going to be SheiKra winning here with 62% of the vote. So SheiKra moving on to the next round. All right, next up we have Kraken versus White Lightning. So another Fun Spot coaster going up against a well-known B&M coaster in Florida. And Kraken, really, really fun. It's one of my favorite floorless coasters that I've been on. Just with all those inversions, it's just really, really intense. And then you have White Lightning. Again, I haven't been on it yet. I do really love GCIs and I've heard good things, so I'm not sure which one I would favor. I would probably lean more toward White Lightning because I am a big wooden coaster fan. But I do think in this one, Kraken is going to have the edge just because it is a well-known coaster for SeaWorld Orlando. So let's see which one wins, and it will be Kraken with 76% of the vote. So I'm noticing a lot of B&M coasters winning here, even over some of the wooden coasters. So something to note as we go into later rounds. All right, we're moving quickly through the bracket here, and we have Montu versus Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket. I think just looking back at how some of these other matches have gone, I think this really shows that Montu is heavily favored in this matchup, and for good reason. Montu is a very, very intense, good B&M invert. It actually won our B&M invert tournament. If you want to see the full results on that, I'll actually post that video in the card above here. But just the fact that it won that tournament, I think that means Montu is heavily favored in this Florida coaster tournament and has a good shot at making it all the way to the end. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, but let's see which coaster won, and it is Montu with 90% of the vote, so a very big margin of victory here as it moves on to the round of 8. Speaking of the round of 8, let's get right into those results as well. And we have Mako versus Incredible Hulk, two really solid B&Ms, but I think Mako has the edge just because it is one of Florida's biggest coasters right now, and I just think because of that, it's going to be really tough for any of these other coasters to beat it. Though I will say Incredible Hulk does have the theming, and it also has that launch in the middle of that lift hill, which does give that coaster some flair to it. So maybe there's some chance there for Incredible Hulk, but I think Mako has a pretty solid lock on this matchup. And let's see who won. It is Mako with 77% of the vote. So Mako continuing to win here and moves to the semifinals. Joining Mako, we have Manta versus Hagrids Motorbike Adventure. This one I expect to be very close. Again, Hagrids has that new coaster love to it. Everyone loves it because it is the new best thing. But then you have Manta, again, a really solid flying coaster, one of the best out there. This one's kind of a toss-up for me, I'm not sure, but I'll give the edge to Hagrids here, just because a lot of people have been hyped over it. So let's see who wins, and it is Hagrids with 60% of the vote. So Hagrids will be joining Mako in the semifinals. Next up, we have Kumba versus Sheikra. Two big B&M coasters at Busch Gardens, Tampa, battling it out here. So me personally, I favor Kumba just because there's more to that ride. It's a bit longer. There's way more inversions and way more elements to it. Sheikra does have that fear factor, especially for the GP. That dive coaster can really play those mind games with you when you're at the top looking straight down and then you just plummet. So Sheikra, again, might have some advantages there, but Kumba, everyone talks about Kumba being one of the most intense coasters out there, especially when you're talking about B&M coasters. And so Kumba definitely has some advantages here, and we'll see if it can move on, and it does with 72% of the vote. So Kumba moving on into the semifinals. All right, the coaster that will take the final semifinal spot, we have Kraken versus Montu, and man, Florida just has fantastic B&Ms. I've had some say that Florida is the B&M capital of the world, and it almost just makes sense. I mean, with all these big name rides from Bollinger and Mabillard, and these two right here I have personally been on, and it's tough for me to differentiate which one is better. I think I like Montu just slightly better because it is so intense, and just some of those inversions, man, you are just glued to your seat. I rode this 3 times in a row in the back seat, and I had to take a break. That's just how crazy that coaster is. Kraken, again, solid as well. Tough to differentiate, but I'm gonna give the edge to Montu here just because it is an inverted coaster that is super intense. So let's see what the voters chose, and they will choose Montu to get that last semi-final spot. So Montu with 84% of the vote, moving on to the next round. All right, so our semi-final is set here. We have Mako versus Hagrids Motorbike Adventure, and then we have a wild matchup, probably the two best coasters at Busch Gardens, Tampa right now, going head-to-head, Montu versus Kumba. That is going to be an exciting battle. I can't wait to get to those results here. But first, let's talk about our consolation bracket. So what I like to do is, for the coasters that lose in that round of 8, I put all 4 of them in a consolation bracket. And so that will consist of Incredible Hulk versus Manta, and then we'll have Sheikra versus Kraken. So let's start out with Incredible Hulk versus Manta. This could be a really close match. Incredible Hulk, I think, has a little bit of the advantage just because it is at Universal Orlando. But again, Manta, solid flying coaster. I keep saying it over and over, but it just truly is. So I personally would go with Manta. I think the flying coaster gives a little bit added experience. But again, there are some fans of Incredible Hulk that I think will show up in this tournament. And let's see who wins. And it will be Incredible Hulk with 52% of the vote. So just a slight victory over Manta, and Incredible Hulk will be in our 5th place battle. Manta will be battling for 7th place. All right, our final consolation bracket matchup. We have Sheikra versus Kraken. I'm just gonna say it again, B&M here, B&M. Kraken, Sheikra, I think for me it's gonna be Kraken, but it's a toss-up again. So let's just go in and see who won, and it is Kraken with 56% of the vote. So another close matchup here. But Kraken will be moving on to the 5th place battle, and then Sheikra will be battling it out for 7th place. Okay, it's time for the semifinals, and our first matchup, we have Mako versus Hagrids Motorbike Adventure. Both coasters are fairly new. I know Mako opened up in 2016, and Hagrids Motorbike Adventure opened up in 2019. So I want to say Hagrids has an advantage here, but Mako is just so good. And again, because of its stats and because it is a B&M hypercoaster, I really think it has a very big advantage as well. So, I mean, it is a toss-up. I think I'm going to go with Hagrids being chosen as the winner here, but let's see who wins. And it is Mako winning with 71% of the vote. So I guess the intensity, the height of Mako won out, and Mako will be participating in the championship match and Hagrids will be battling it out for 3rd place. All right, the next semifinal matchup, the one that I was really looking forward to the most here, Kumba versus Montu. Winner gets a ticket into the championship round. Both coasters, surprisingly, I know one's an invert and one's a sit down, but they're just very similar to me. Both are very intense, both have multiple inversions, and so it's a similar experience, just the track is in different places. So I really can't differentiate, again, these two coasters. I think they give the same experience for me. Personally, I like Montu a bit better just because of the inversions and because it is an invert. I like the fact that your legs are kind of dangling. It's just an added experience. And so I'm gonna give the edge to Montu here. So let's see who wins. And the coaster meeting Mako in the final is Montu with 76% of the vote. So Montu with a big victory will be taking on Mako in our championship match, and Kumba will be taking on Hagrids Motorbike Adventure. So our final rounds are set, and it's time to find out who wins the Florida Coaster Tournament. But first, let's get to the 7th place battle. All right, the 7th place match, we have Manta versus Shikra, and I think Manta is going to be a little favored here. I personally love Manta way better than Shikra. I like flying coasters better than dive coasters, and I think the general public, it's tough to tell. I think they favor flying coasters more than dive coasters, so with that kind of theory, I'm going to go with Manta winning this 7th place matchup. But let's see who the victor is, and it is Manta with 71% of the vote. So Manta winning 7th place here over Shikra. Shikra will have to settle for 8th place in the tournament. All right, let's quickly move to 5th place. We have Incredible Hulk versus Kraken. Again, these coasters to me are very similar, though Incredible Hulk does have a little bit more theming and that launch, so that's an added bonus for it. And I think because of that added bonus, honestly, Incredible Hulk does have a bit of an advantage here. So I think Incredible Hulk will win, and it is Incredible Hulk with 65% of the vote. So Incredible Hulk will win 5th place. All right, let's move on to 3rd place. And man, this one is gonna be very close. I feel like we have Hagrid's Motorbike Adventure versus Kumba. You have well-known thrill seeker coaster versus very popular coaster, brand new Universal Studios ride. You know, I really don't know who is going to win this. I'm really excited to get on Hagrid's. I think Hagrid's just gives you more variety in that coaster, and so that's what's really appealing to me. I'm not sure if that's going to appeal to the voters, but again, Kumba is a solid, intense experience. So because there's a lot of thrill seekers voting in this tournament, I think Kumba is going to have the edge. So I'm going to pick Kumba. But let's see who wins, and oh man, this one was close. Kumba wins with 51% of the vote. So just by a slim margin, Kumba wins. Let's check out what the vote margin was. And Kumba had 333 votes to Hagrid's 317. So less than 20 votes separated the winner there. That is absolutely crazy. What a matchup for 3rd place. Kumba secures the bronze medal here, and now it is time to get to our championship. Mako, the B&M hypercoaster from Seaworld Orlando versus the best coaster, or one of the best coasters at Busch Gardens Tampa, and that is a B&M invert, Montu. Montu again was the winner of our inverted coaster tournament, so that already gives it some prestige here and tells me that it is very favorable amongst our voters. Mako, on the other hand, being a B&M hypercoaster, in past tournaments I've noticed that B&M hypercoasters are very popular, and for good reason. They give you some fantastic airtime, and they're super glossy smooth, and that's just a formula for a really solid experience. So I'm gonna say Mako gets the edge here, though it would not shock me at all if Montu pulls out its 2nd tournament victory. So our winner of the Florida Coaster Tournament is Mako with 60% of the vote. So Mako has been crowned the best coaster right now in Florida, according to you all. Congratulations to SeaWorld Orlando and Mako fans for winning this tournament. And man, what a solid turnout and solid results here. Mako making it all the way to the finals, beating some really good coasters and taking the crown. And honestly, this might be the one and only year that Mako wins it, because it's got some competition coming next year, and we will definitely be doing this tournament again. So be on the lookout for that next year. We also have another tournament coming up this week, hopefully, depending on when this video is released. It will either be the week this video is released or the coming week, but we will have the Intamin roller coaster tournament. And the reason why I've been pushing it back is that at first I was only going to include 32 Intamins, and then when I started looking up all these Intamin coasters, I just thought, man, I'm going to have to include more coasters, and I'm going to need more time for this. So we are going to have a massive Intamin coasters, likely going to be 40 plus coasters in that tournament. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be insane. I'm absolutely excited for it. So stay tuned to that. And again, make sure you check out my Instagram page because we're going to have all the details and the bracket for that tournament posted there. So be on the lookout for that. And if you enjoy these tournaments, be sure to give this video a like. It really tells me what kind of interest there are in these tournaments. I know I get comments all the time that you all love them, so I'm happy to keep providing these for you. And if you want to see more tournament videos, I actually have tons already on my channel. We've done so many tournaments so far. So if you want to check any of those out, I will actually link a playlist in the description below, as well as our Manufacturer's Cup that we just did in the card above. And also don't forget to subscribe to Destination Thrills, as we're the destination for all the latest theme park news, battles, and content. Again, Mako was crowned champion of the Florida Coaster Tournament. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Cullah Hale. Stay safe and have a good one.